So, hey guys, in this podcast episode, I want to talk about one thing that is important from us, the creators, to you guys as the viewers, because simply our relationship with YouTube is absolutely terrible. As that we don't really have a good standing relationship with YouTube as a whole, as that simply YouTube starts to in fact use more and more AI into their own systems. And on top of this, the actual internet is getting much more censored, as that apparently much more anti-Israeli content, and content as a whole is actually being removed because it is mostly dangerous towards Israel as a whole, which is absolute bullshit. I feel as if like any content, no matter where it comes from, is should be on the internet because that's freedom of speech. But it feels as if like that what YouTube is doing is simply censoring the internet, or what other social media giants are doing is simply censoring the internet for simply the reasoning of safety. It feels as if like the word safety is not the safety that you and I are thinking of. When we think of safety, it's basically saving the children from harmful content, but in reality, it's simply censoring any content that is deemed dangerous to simply the company and anyone for the company. This actually, in fact, includes content that simply, in my opinion, does not deserve to be, in fact, removed, but simply YouTube or other platforms are just simply removing it because it's simply dangerous towards Israel as a whole. But you may be going like, "Oh, how are they removing it?" By simply using AI. Because since ChatGPT's inception, more and more uses of AI in not in social medias but also in governments as a whole, because we have flock cameras, has basically increased. Basically, with YouTube, they not only use it in their support pages, but also in their social media pages, their appeal pages, basically anything and everything that could just be simply to do with moderation as a whole or social media is easily replaced with the AI, making it so that simply you're not talking to a human no more. You're trying to convince a robot of why the fuck he should be in fact unbanned. Which is not only if it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, since AI can in fact make multiple errors and multiple bad decisions, but they'll keep on justifying their bad decisions because they think the bad decisions are good. They're not trained up well, and instead trained up nice and terribly and just simply rushed out just so they can in fact keep the labor nice and cheap. That's what the companies want at the end of the day. Nice, cheap labor just so they can increase their profit. And by doing that, they want to in fact like, make more and more jobs into AI. Making it sound like that they pay for the CEOs and top executives would in fact increase. But it's on social media, we'll also be talking about the flock cameras. You maybe go like, what are flock cameras? Flock cameras are supposed to be AI surveillance that are running on outdated Android systems that are easily hackable, by the way. So basically, it's already dangerous to begin with, as that anyone can hack these cameras, and then who knows what type of data they can in fact find. They can find data from past, present, and future, and pretty much could find out even more devastating details like the license plate number, the information behind the person. Like we could find even more dangerous stuff that is not always based on the individual like yourself, but based on the car as a whole. They discover that if you discover that these flock cameras are not for the safety of the people, but instead trying to collect as much information as just to sell it off. Because Flock is pretty much a data broker, which you in fact like forced by law, not by law, but forced by the government in order to support. And this is in fact being rolled out into countries like the USA, where it has basically been very unsuccessful, as that it pretty much caused a whole family to be held at gunpoint and arrested for simply existing, because simply the license plate of the license plate was in fact read wrong by the flock cameras, and because they thought right that it was a license plate for a stolen motorcycle, which does not make sense, and should have said to the police officers, "Oh, right, does not make sense because this was the SUV." The police officers didn't really give a fuck. It's as if the reliance for the police department and police as a whole towards the flock cameras is absolutely insane. Well, we have a CEO who's not only became less and less human, but also to pretty much outright defending it, saying right that anyone who's against it is absolutely terroristic. It kind of reminds you of the Labour Party when they had to try and in fact get you guys trying to in fact defend the Online Safety Act, where anyone against it is a simple paedophile. which is absolutely insane in any single manner. It kind of feels like as if right now, this day, right, we have more and more AI, and personally, right, we don't need this much AI. On top of this, the privacy that we once had in the past years is once gone forever. As that we have mostly, if not cameras everywhere, but also there's multiple cameras located everywhere where these cameras can not only be easily hackable, but also this can actually in fact be used in order to stalk people, as that the flock cameras themselves have in fact been used multiple times by police officers and sheriffs to not only stalk individuals, but also to find out where they're going and what they're doing. As that there will be multiple arrests made based on these officers doing the exact thing, where they're stalking their significant other or stalking someone who's a complete stranger to them. It shows that not only how creepy, but also how dangerous these cameras are. And on top of this, there's no positive side to this. Because there's multiple disadvantages to it, and now right there's in fact a website called Flock where basically it's designed not only to show you where the flock cameras are in your country, but also to in fact find out the best way in order to go around them. As that the best way in order to dodge these cameras is to A, cover them up, destroy them, or B, try to not drive near them whatsoever or avoid them. Because honestly, these flock cameras are more invasive than ever. To the point where honestly, we should never ever trust these cameras ever again. And now, right, we have fact right having the FTC getting a claim about them saying that flock is extremely dangerous because of their outdated Android system, and even Chicago themselves just said right, get the cameras the fuck out of here, and they did. Flock actually complied about it. And then a week later, they reconstructed back up all the cameras that were hosted in Chicago. And simply you ain't gonna like, can the Chicago PD take them down? Nope, because honestly, there's a loophole where it is private property, where they can't really touch the cameras, and now that they have to in fact have them covered up. It just shows how invasive this company is, and that simply everything that's happening within Watch Dogs is in fact happening in real life. That's what in fact what we're going to talk about right now, where basically everything that's happening in Watch Dogs and the message behind Watch Dogs is in fact being portrayed in real life, especially in Watch Dogs 2. Because Watch Dogs 2 is more realistic to real life than Watch Dogs 1. Since Watch Dogs 1 is based on the mafia and the underground, while Watch Dogs 2 is based on social media and governments, where they want to in fact destroy privacy to in fact gain more data. And trust me, if we continue to a world like this, there will be an eventual revolution where we in fact not only destroy more and more cameras, but also to in fact force to increase privacy, not only to ourselves, but to also to other people. No matter how many bullshit times the government will actually say about that this is for the safety, it's not reality for the safety. It's just to find out what you're doing, where you are, what you do, who you're friends with, who your family members are. Let's get everything to do with you is not only easily locatable and trackable, but also to simply find out what you're gonna do next up. Because honestly, the future is absolutely dark for privacy, and that's why I'll not only force you guys to have a VPN, like for example VPN, which is basically a free VPN extension that you can in fact get, but also to in fact to not really post any facials or anything about your face online. And on top of this, in fact, I have really strict security to the point where to in fact go by an alias to all the strangers around you, just so that they don't really know who you are. Because honestly, this is all down to simple security. Because who knows? Maybe one person could in fact be an absolute snitch and then just say to the government, "Oh right, this guy be chatting shit." Because trust me, right, the government is in fact cracking down on stuff that they don't like, to the point that in fact people are getting actively arrested for things just for saying stuff against the government or against the ideals of the government. Which is not even absolutely insane, but absolute bullshit as a whole. I just shows that freedom of speech has been long gone. And that's why I found such a Unity 360 as a whole. Unity 360 was in fact to combat the exact problem that I found was suffering till this day, where privacy is a second choice or not even a human right anymore, where privacy can just be easily thrown away just for the reasoning of safety, which I do not believe in. And you may be going, what am I going to do? Number one, add an anti-flock campaign where basically flock cameras would in fact be not only disabled but also to be covered up. If you spot a flock camera or if you spot a flock camera in the UK and when I become government, the other one it will be an anti-flock campaign where basically you would in fact tell us where the flock cameras are, then from there we'll be actively covering them up and then potentially replace them with stuff that is not only high tech but also high security as a whole. Because we can't just cover up all cameras, because we know that there are going to be some damn speeders. So we're going to cover up only flock cameras. Number two, make privacy as a human right. Because it seems as if privacy is being a second option and not a human right anymore. And therefore, making privacy a human right, especially on the internet, will make so that eventually everyone will find get their privacy back. Where not only the Online Safety Act will be disabolished, where basically now it'll be responsible of the parents on the children for what they see online instead of the actual government themselves. Because simply now we're in fact putting this on the government, where the government is in fact supposed to act like the parents to these children, which the government is not the parents to your fucking children. If your child sees something inappropriate online, just simply report it. Or it maybe is because of your damn fault for giving them a fucking phone to begin with that's 2 years old. Because trust me, at that age, children should not be on their phones. They should be all about. They should be walking about. They should be, in fact, hopping, skipping about. Because that's what I've been doing. That's what I'll always be doing, bro. I'll be hopping, skipping about outside. And that's a lot more healthier than staying online. So pretty much, you're the parent of your child, not the fucking government. So you're gonna read the Online Safety Act, and the digital ID, if that comes right, will be not automatically removed, but all the data on the servers will also be automatically erased. And who knows, we can in fact repurpose these servers for a different purpose, or simply sell them off. Because honestly, there's in fact multiple things I want to in fact get underway as government. Simply is about mostly focus on privacy and security as a whole. Because honestly, we need that privacy back. And if the UK is going to be the first ever fucking country in law to do that, then so be it. Because we not only show how great we are at privacy, but also how strongly supportive we are towards security as a whole. And on top of this, you already got out what about economy? Zambia got that under sorted, as that not only have I allowed the private sector in order to build more houses, but also lessen restrictions on it, just like the encouragement of new houses and upgrading old houses to new houses. And on top of this, I will also make sure that anybody being sent out of the UK will be restricted or simply be prevented just to be sent out in the future. Because honestly, we're only paying higher taxes because more and more money is being sent out of the UK. I believe right that simply cutting this funding from sending money out of the UK just to not only increase the funding that we have, but also to decrease the taxes that you have to pay. Because the more money that the government has, the less money that we in fact require from the people. And mostly why we in fact get higher taxes is mostly because we're sending more and more money to countries like Israel or other these other countries, which first of all we do not have the same money to. It's more than an option than a mandatory option. So yeah, it seems as if that as a whole, Unity 360 would in fact be a lot more positive and a net positive to people like us. And on top of this, Unity 360 is in fact looking for people like you, because so far it's a one-man mission, and therefore, honestly, I believe that having a multiple people within the Discord server of Unity 360 will be not only a bit net positive, but also be a lot more better. As that if you have multiple people in the server, then multiple people could commit to multiple different types of roles, and therefore could in fact help this party to not only become very successful, but also to become one of, if not the most secure nation of all time. So if you support privacy, support UT360. If you have to support security, support UT360. If your privacy matters, support UT360. And we both together not only remove the AI from the government systems, but also get less and less data being collected by the government from the people themselves. Because honestly, and on top of this, we also got to make sure that the UK will become not only a lot more cheaper, but also a lot more affordable to everyone else, including housing and including taxes as a whole. Because we've got to make sure, right, that less and less money be sent out of the UK. Because we need the money. Because fuck Israel. Because and I'm anti-Israel, but that doesn't mean I'm pro-Palestine. I just don't like what Israel's doing. That's what I'm just saying. I don't like what Israel's doing, just like most other people. They don't like what Israel is doing, but they ain't pro Palestine. Because honestly, I don't really like Palestine either. Pretty much because like, these are two Middle Eastern countries that I do not equally give a fuck about because I have no relation to these countries whatsoever. So why the fuck would I give a fuck about them? So yeah, so stay safe.